I have some on Facebook, also YouTube.
Facebook, you on Facebook?
No, YouTube. I only see Facebook.
Let's see.
On Facebook?
Live. That's fine though. Shalom Yahweh Shem Yahshai Barakatah to the brothers. Shalom Yahweh Shem Halatah Ba'Shem Yahushai to the sisters. And today, as you know, is the Sabbath service. And today's topic is going to be battling spirits. We're going to give everybody a moment to check in before we get started. And we'll get started with the prayers and we'll get on with class. Make sure you got your incense burning. Brothers, remember, have your heads uncovered. Sisters, make sure you have your heads covered.
Come.
Cool. All right, let's give everybody just a few minutes and we'll get started. There we go.
Remember I told you about working on that word, right?
Okay, so Amijam, just me and the brother up here. That's 12 right there. Sorry, face me. Sorry.
La Yasharala.
Which means to Israel. Sorry, face me. Rex. Sorry, face me. Sorry. All right, Amadium upon Yahakwadam, which means to rise and face the east. We're going to be going over the Lord's Prayer. All right, this is going to be the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. Abanawa. Shabbat Shemaya. Kodash. Ayah. Shemka. Yahweh. Malakutka. Taba'ah. Ratazaka. Ayah. Aisha. Ba'arataza. Kawa. Ayah. Bashamaya. Tananawa. Lakum. Call. Yawam. Wasalaknawa.
Wasalaknawa.
Kawaknawa.
Kawaknawa.
Kasalaknawa.
Kasalaknawa.
Kawaknawa.
Kawaknawa.
Wala'a.
Wala.
Kabayanawa.
Kabayanawa.
Wanasaiwan.
Asaiwa.
Abal.
Abal.
Kawashinawa.
Kawashinawa.
Mayan.
Mayan.
Rai.
Rai.
Kaya.
Kaya.
Laka.
Laka.
Hamalakwa.
Hamalakwa.
Waha'ala.
Waha'ala.
Wahatapara.
Wahatapara.
Lawalamim.
William.
Aman.
Aman. The Lord's Prayer in the English. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
Hallowed be thy name.
Yahweh,
Yahweh.
thy kingdom come.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy will be done.
Thy will be done.
In earth.
In earth.
As it is in heaven.
As it is in heaven.
Give us this day.
Give us this day.
Our daily bread.
Our daily bread.
And forgive us our debts.
And forgive us our debts.
As we forgive our debtors.
As we forgive our debtors.
And lead us not.
And lead us not.
Into temptation.
Into temptation.
But deliver us.
But deliver us.
From evil.
From evil.
For thine is the kingdom.
For thine is the kingdom.
And the power.
And the power.
And the glory.
And the glory.
Forever.
Forever.
So be it.
So be it. Hakak, which is the power in the Hebrew. Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Ba'ashem.
Ba'ashem.
Yahushua.
Yahushua.
Bakashah.
Bakashah.
Tanlanawa.
Tanlanawa.
Hakak.
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 Barapa'ah.
La'ra'ah.
Call.
Call.
Makala.
Makala.
Wakal.
Wakal.
Madawa.
Madawa.
Hakak.
Hakak.
Latahar.
Latahar.
Ha.
Ha.
Matazarai.
Matazarai.
Hakak.
Hakak.
Laquaya.
Laquaya.
Hamathiu.
Hamathiu.
Hakak.
Hakak.
Al.
Al.
Rakawaf.
Rakawaf.
Hatama Allah.
Hatama Allah.
Magarashun.
Magarashun.
Ba'ashun.
Ba'ashun.
Yahushua.
Yahushua.
The water.
The water.
Aman.
Aman. Hakak in the English. Yahweh.
Yahweh.
In the name of Yahushua.
In the name of Yahushua.
Please give us the power.
Please give us the power.
The power to heal.
The power to heal.
All manner of sickness.
All manner of sickness.
And all manner of disease.
And all manner of disease.
The power to cleanse the lepers.
The power to cleanse the lepers.
The power to raise the dead.
The power to raise the dead.
The power against unclean spirits.
The power against unclean spirits.
To cast them out.
To cast them out.
In the name of Yahushua.
In the name of Yahushua.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So be it.
So be it. The blessings in the Hebrew. Barakatah Yahweh.
Barakatah Yahweh.
Wa Yahushua.
Wa Yahushua.
Wa Mayaka Allah.
Wa Maka Allah.
Wa Alahayim.
Wa Alahayim.
Matazab Ya'ah.
Matazab Ya'ah.
Alawap Yahan.
Alawap Yahana.
Ha Alawapim.
Ha Alawapim.
Ha Soronyim.
Ha Saronyim.
Ha Kotazayoyim.
Ha Kotazayoyim.
Ha Kayayoyim.
Ha Kayayoyim.
Wa Ha Akwafim.
Waha Wakim.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Ba'ashem.
Ba'ashem.
Yahushua.
Yahushua.
The water.
The water.
Amen.
Amen. The blessings in English. Bless you, Yahweh.
Bless you, Yahweh.
And Yahushua.
And Yahushua.
And Michael.
And Michael.
And the angels.
And the angels.
Commanding General Yahan.
Commanding General Yahan.
The generals.
The generals.
The captains.
The captains.
The officers.
The officers.
The troopers.
The troopers.
And the sisters.
And the sisters.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
In the name of Yahushua.
In the name of Yahushua.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So be it.
So be it. Psalms 121 in the Hebrew. Asha'ah.
Asha'ah.
Ayunya.
Ayunya.
All.
Aharim.
Aharim. Mayan.
Mayan.
Yaba'ah.
Yaba'ah.
Izoya.
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 Ma'aim.
Ma'aim.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Aisha.
Aisha.
Shemayim.
Shemaiah.
Wa Rataza.
Ra Rataza.
All.
Yathan.
Yathan.
Amawat.
Wagalka.
Wagalka.
All. And a one.
And a one.
Shemorka.
Shemarka.
Anat.
Anat.
La'ah.
La'ah.
And a one.
And a one.
Mala'ah.
Mala'ah.
Ayashun.
Ayashun.
Shawamar.
Shamar.
Yasharala.
Yasharala.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Shamarka.
Shamarka.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Tazolka.
Tazalka.
Aliyah.
Ayah.
Yimyuka.
Yamyuka.
It's like it. Yawamam.
Yawam.
Hashamash.
Hashamash.
La'ah.
La'ah.
Yakaka.
Yakaka.
Wayaraf.
Arak.
Alayallah.
La'ala.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Yashamarka.
Yashamarka.
Makal.
Makal.
Rai.
Rai.
Yashamar.
Yashamar.
Athnapashka.
Aknapashka.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Yashamar.
Yashamar.
Taza'aka.
Taza'aka.
Wa'aka.
Wa'aka.
Laita.
Laita.
Wa'ai.
Wa'ai.
I will.
Psalms 121 in the English. I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills.
I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills.
From whence cometh my help?
From whence cometh my help?
My help cometh from the Lord.
My help cometh from the Lord.
Which made heaven and earth.
Which made heaven and earth.
He will not suffer thy foot to be moved.
He will not suffer thy foot to be moved.
He that keepeth thee.
He that keepeth thee.
Will not slumber.
Will not slumber.
Behold.
Behold.
He that keepeth Israel.
He that keepeth Israel.
Shall neither slumber nor sleep.
Shall neither slumber nor sleep.
The Lord is thy keeper.
The Lord is thy keeper.
The Lord is thy shade.
The Lord is thy shade.
Upon thy right hand.
Upon thy right hand.
The sun shall not smite thee by day.
The sun shall not smite thee by day.
Nor the moon by night.
Nor the moon by night.
The Lord shall preserve thee.
The Lord shall preserve thee.
From all evil.
From all evil.
He shall preserve thy soul.
He shall preserve thy soul.
The Lord shall preserve thy going out.
The Lord shall preserve thy going out.
And thy coming in.
And thy coming in.
From this time forth.
From this time forth.
And even forevermore.
And even forevermore. Psalms 83 in the Hebrew. Alahayim.
Alahayim.
All. Lamaya.
Lamaya.
Laka.
Laka.
All. Takarash.
Takarash.
All. Ashakwat.
Ashakwat.
All. Kaya.
Kaya.
Ana.
Ana.
Awiyabika.
Ayibika.
Yep. Yahama.
Yama.
Yawan.
Yawan.
Ra'ash.
Ra'ash.
Amaka.
Amaka.
Ya'ayamwa.
Ya'ayamwa.
Sawada.
Sawada.
Wayata.
Wayata.
Yayatazwa.
Yatazawa.
Al. Tazapawanyaka.
Tizapawanyika.
Amarwa.
Amarwa.
Lakawa.
Akawa.
Unakakina.
Owakakina.
Magoya.
Magoya.
Wala'a.
Wala'a.
Yazakar.
Yazakar.
Sham.
Sham.
Yasharala.
Yasharala.
Awada.
Awada.
Kaya.
Kaya.
Nayatazwa.
Nayatazawa.
Laba.
Laba.
Yakadwa.
Yakadwa.
Al Yakad.
Alika.
Bariyaf.
Baraf.
Yakarafwa.
Yakarafwa.
Salakia. Ahalya.
Ahaya.
Adawam.
Adawam.
Wa.
Wa.
Yashamai.
Yashamai.
Alayam.
Adawam.
Salakia. Mawa Abba.
Mawa Abba.
Wagaria.
Argaria.
Gabal.
Gabal.
Wamaya. Salakia. Wamai1.
Wama1.
Wamala.
Wamala.
Palashah.
Palashah.
Amishabia.
Amishabia.
Tazawar.
Tazawar.
Gum.
Gum.
Ashawar.
Ashawar.
Nalawa.
Nalawa.
Imam.
Imam.
Hayawa.
Hayawa.
Zarawat.
Zarawat.
Labunya.
Labunya.
Lawat.
Lawat.
Salah.
Salah.
Aisha.
Aisha.
Laham.
Laham.
Kamadian.
Kamadian.
Kasaya.
Kasaya.
Sara'a.
Sara'a.
Kayabian.
Kayabian.
Banakal.
Banakal.
Kayashwan.
Kayashwan.
Nashamadwa.
Nashamadwa.
Bayan.
Bayan.
Dara'a.
Dara'a.
Hayawa.
Hayawa.
Daman.
Daman.
La'a.
La'a.
Dama.
Dama.
Shayatamwa.
Shayatamwa.
Nada.
Nada.
Ya.
Ya. Ya.
Slakia. Yamawa.
Yamawa.
Kaira.
Kaira.
Wakaza Abba.
Wakaza Abba.
Wakazaba.
Wakazaba.
Wakatazol.
Wakatazol.
Manai.
Manai.
Call. Nasayakamwa.
Nasanakiwa.
Ashar.
Ashar.
Amarwa.
Amarwa. Nice.
Salakia. Nayasha.
Nayasha.
Lanawa.
Nawa.
Af. Nawa.
Nawa.
Alahaya.
Alahaya.
Ka'ash.
Gosh.
Tabira.
Tabara.
Ya'irwa.
Ya'irwa.
Wa.
Wa.
Kalahaba.
Kalahaba.
Salahat.
Salahat.
Harayam.
Haram.
Kun.
Kun.
Tharadatma.
Tavadatma.
Vasa'iraka.
Vasa'iraka.
Wabasa.
Wabasa.
Wapafka.
Wapafka.
Thabaha. Salakia. Thabahalam.
Tabahalam.
Mala'a.
Mala'a.
Panyaham.
Palaham.
Kwalawan.
Kwalawan.
Waya.
Waya.
Kwashwa.
Kwashwa.
Shamka.
Shamka.
Yahawa.
Yahawa.
Yabashwa.
Yabashwa.
Waya.
Waya.
Hawa.
Bahawa.
Anya'ai.
Aya'ai.
Waya.
Waya.
Kaparwa.
Kaparwa.
Waya.
Waya.
Abadwa.
Abadwa.
Waya.
Waya.
Iowa.
Ya'ira.
Kaya.
Kaya.
Ata.
Ata.
Shamka.
Shamka.
Yahawa.
Yahawa.
Abaka.
Abaka.
Ayawan.
Alawam.
Al. Call.
Call.
Haratiza.
Haratiza. Psalm 83 in the English. Keep not thy silence, O God.
Keep not thy silence, O God.
Hold not thy peace.
Hold not thy peace.
And be not still.
And be not still.
O God.
O God.
For
lo.
thine enemies make atonement.
Thine enemies make atonement.
And they that hate thee
And they that hate thee
have lifted up the head.
have lifted up the head.
They have taken crafty counsel
They have taken crafty counsel
against thy people.
against thy people.
And consulted against thy hidden ones.
And consulted against thy hidden ones.
They have said,
They have said,
Come, and let us cut them off from being a nation.
And let us cut them off from being a nation.
That the name of Israel
That the name of Israel
may be no more remembrance.
may be no more remembrance.
For they have consulted together
For they have consulted together
with one consent.
with one consent.
They are confederate against
They are confederate against thee.
the tabernacles of Edom
The tabernacles of Edom
and the Ishmaelites
and the Ishmaelites
of Moab
of Moab
and the
and the
Hagarenes,
Hagarenes,
Gebal
Gabal
and Ammon
and Ammon
and Amalek,
and Amalek,
the Philistines
the Philistines
with the inhabitants of Tyre.
with the inhabitants of Tyre.
Assur also is joined with them.
Assur also is joined with them.
They have opened the children of
They
Lot.
have opened the children of Lot.
Salah.
Salah.
Do unto them
Do unto them
as unto the Midianites,
as unto the Midianites,
as to Sisera,
as to Sisera,
as to Jabin,
as to Jabin,
at the brook of Kissam,
at the brook of Kissam,
which perished at Endor.
which perished at Endor.
They become as dung for the earth.
They became as dung for the earth.
Make their nobles like Oreb.
Make their nobles like Oreb.
And like Zaid.
And like Zaid.
Yea.
Yea.
All their princes as Zabah.
All their princes as Ssabbath.
And as Zalmunna.
And as Zalmunna.
Who said,
let
us take to ourselves
us take to ourselves
the houses of God in possession.
the houses of God in possession.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Make them like a wheel.
Make them like a whip.
As they stubble before the wind.
As a stubble before the wind.
As the fire burneth a wood.
As the fire burneth the wood.
And as the flame setteth the mountains on fire.
And as the flame set the mountains on fire.
So persecute them with thy tempest.
So persecute them with thy tempest.
And make them afraid.
And make them afraid
With thy storm.
with thy storm.
Fill their faces with shame.
Fill their faces with shame.
That they may seek thy name.
That they may seek thy name.
O Lord.
O Lord.
Let them be confounded.
Let them be confounded.
And troubled.
And troubled.
Forever.
Forever.
Yea.
Yea.
Let them be put to shame.
Let them be put to shame.
And perish.
And perish.
That men may know.
That men may know.
That thou.
Whose
Whose name alone. Is Yahweh.
Is Yahweh.
Art the most high.
Art the most high.
Over all the earth.
Over all the earth. Talk with me. No, it's not the papers. Come up slightly. That should be fine right there.
It's like it's like that. Or it's lower down a little bit.
Yeah, I might need you to come over here just to see. Sloppy.
I can raise a little bit.
Raise a little bit. Oh, it's a little better.
Yeah.
All right, let's clap it up for the Most High. All right, and today we are going to be going over what it means to fight against spirits. The reason why we are covering this class is that for those brothers and sisters, especially the new ones who may come into the school or who are thinking of possibly coming into the school, we want you to understand things that you may face, and I want you to understand what it truly means to follow Christ. But as always, I don't want to give you my personal opinion. I don't want to say anything that may misconstrue anybody. We're going to read strictly from the Bible, and we're going to break it down. And we're going to be starting with Matthew chapter 10, verse 32. And we're going to be going over the 7 verses in the Hebrew. And afterwards, we will go over them in the English, and we'll continue with the breakdown.
It's like Matthew's in the Hebrews on it. This is just the Old Testament. Old Testament Chronicles. Yeah.
So, okay. That's fine.
So I forgot all about that too.
No, that's fine. If it's not in there,
We can do as far as
no, that's fine. If it's not in there, then we'll go over it in the English. Just want to get this breakdown.
Okay, I can do that.
So yeah. So Salakia, we'll be going over Matthew chapter 10, verse 32 through 38 in the English.
Oh.
So, let me just go and check.
Yes, I forgot all about that. I got a scripture talk about spirit.
If you want to select it.
Let's start here.
No, go ahead. You two, go ahead.
You said chapter 7?
Matthew chapter 10, verse 32 through 38.
The book of Matthew, chapter 10, and verse 32. Whosoever therefore shall confess me before men, him will I confess also before my Father which is in heaven.
Now, just so we're clear, this is Christ talking right now. Go ahead.
Verse 33. But whosoever shall deny me before men, him will I also deny before my Father, which is in heaven. Verse 34. Think not that I am come to send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword against his father, and the daughter against her mother, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law.
Sorry, read verse 35 again.
Okay. Verse 35. For I am come to set a man. Oops, I missed that. Verse 35. For I am come to set a man to at variance against his father, and the daughter against her mother, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law.
Verse 36.
Verse 36. And a man's foes shall be they of his own household.
Now let's stop right there. Now let's break that down. First and foremost, let's go over verse 34. Think not that I am come to send peace on earth. This is Christ, by the way. I came not to send peace, but a sword. There seems to be a confusion with a lot of Christians today in the Christian church. First and foremost, I want to clarify that Christ is a black man. That picture that you see in your Christian churches today, that is a lie. That is not Christ. Christ is not some, if I may, feminine-looking, soft-haired white boy. That's not Christ. All right? Christ said that I am come to send, I am come to send peace, think not that I am come to send peace on earth. I come not to send peace, this is Christ, but a sword. For I am come to set a man at variance. Variance. What does variance mean? See if anybody can, if somebody in the comments can tell me what variance means, you can look up the definition. All right. If somebody could answer what variance means in the comments, I would greatly appreciate it. If not, no sweat, we'll break it down for you. What's that? Against. Okay. You got the definition?
The Merriam-Webster definition of variance: the fact or state of being in disagreement.
Disagreement, okay.
Dissensions.
Dissensions, okay.
Dispute.
Dispute, ooh, okay. What else?
Oh, that's all for that.
That's all for that? So I see some people in the comments. Let's see, we got against, okay. We got set him against, change. It is like a variable, a difference. That's the key one I was looking for, a difference.
Okay.
So Christ is saying, for I am come to set a man at variance, a difference, right? Dispute, that's what it said, right?
All right.
Against his father, and the daughter against her mother, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. And a man's foes shall be they of his own household. Slagia, if I could, before we even continue, I want to go over Matthew chapter 10, verse 22. This is Christ talking right now. Oh, wait, I got it. The book of Matthew chapter 10, verse 32, and ye shall be hated, keyword hated, of all men for my name's sake. Right. But he that endureth to the end shall be saved. Why are we going over this? If you are a so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man or woman, you are of the Lord's people. And if you so choose to change your life, and you say, you know what, I want to devote my life to serving and following Christ. To put it in a black term for you, Christ saying that you're going to have some haters. People are going to be upset at you because you decided you wanted to change your life. Right. You're not the same way that you were once upon a time ago. You decided, you know what, I don't want to smoke weed anymore. I want to get clean. I don't want to be an alcoholic. right? I don't want to harm my brother. I don't want to harm my sister. I want to be a good father or a good mother to my children, a good wife to your husband, a good husband to your wife. You chose to change for the better. Slagia, if I could, um, just to share something with y'all. There was a brother in the world that I know, and he's in the world. And we were just talking about some circumstances that we had that were very similar. We both decided to get out of our respective hometowns, and we wanted to better ourselves. You know, we wanted to set up some type of security for ourselves. This brother that I know in the world, he has children. You know, he wanted to put on for his family, be better than what he was, stop doing these horrible things that he was doing in the past, right? And we're talking about it, and he's telling me his experiences from when he went back home. He goes back home and he bumps into a lot of his would-be friends, right? And they're still doing the same thing. They still in the streets, you know, up till 1 o'clock in the morning asking, hey, where to look at, you know, what party we going to? Still smoking weed in their mama's basement. They chose that they didn't want to change. And contrary to popular belief, they started to hate this brother because when he came back home, he did not want to partake in the activities that they used to anymore.
Right.
He said, I'm too old for that. You know, I got a wife now. I got a daughter. You know, I got things that I got to take care of. I don't want to do these things anymore. Right. And you want to know what they did? All they kept doing was reminding him of who he used to be. You got to understand how evil that is. Like, for example, if there's a brother that's on drugs or a sister, right? And they decide, you know what, I want to get clean. I want to sober up. I don't want to do this anymore. They get rehabilitated and they've been, 5 years sober. Are you going to hate that person because they decided they wanted to get clean? I hope not. But shockingly, there are going to be those who are going to be upset that you want to do better. If you want to follow Christ, and I'm not talking about your Christian church, this ain't some, Sunday service where you come in here and you shaking tambourines and playing the drums and everything just, it's like a musical. It's not what this is. Here you really learn how to follow Christ. And you are going to be at variance with many, many people. Some of these people, and hey, look, I didn't make this up. This is Christ talking right now. Against his father, against your mother, your family. It might be people that you were really, really close with, friends, family, that are going to look at you differently because now you want to grow your beard out. You don't want to associate yourself with strange nations. You choose to only love your people. You chose that I don't want to get high anymore. I don't want to celebrate holidays. Hey, sorry, family, I'm not coming over for Thanksgiving anymore. The Lord said not to celebrate pagan holidays. Thanksgiving is evil as hell anyway. That's celebrating the damn near genocide of our native brothers and sisters today. Right. If I remember it, I think it was approximately 99 million that were slaughtered. And that's on record. Realistically, we know that there's most likely more than that. They always want to talk about the Holocaust, right? Which is a completely different nation that has nothing to do with us. Right. And I think it was, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was about 6 or 7 million.
Yeah, about 6 million.
About 6 million? Yeah. It's about 6 million. That's a high number, right? But what's 6 million to 99 million native Indians that were slaughtered on this land? And all because of what? Because they were hospitable. Right. They chose to welcome their enemies with open arms. Natives taught these colonizers how to bathe properly. Yeah, right. They taught them how to bathe because they were suffering from all types of illnesses. When they had their farms, they had, the pigs running around, the chickens defecating everywhere, and they're sleeping around these animals and trying to eat, not washing their hands. Our native brothers and sisters taught them how to properly clean themselves. Right. They taught them how to grow better crops more efficiently. They taught them to have a better way of life. Right. And roughly paraphrasing, Christopher Columbus said, these are some very hospitable people. Oh. They should be made to serve. Come on, man. Come on.
It's the devil.
But because you choose to not celebrate that anymore, people are going to hate you for it.
And if I may also,
Go ahead.
We're going back into what you were talking about the Holocaust. Also, it's just like, you know what I mean, those nations received reparations for that Holocaust. They received millions and millions of dollars from Germany and from the United States. They're paid like, man, like I just like I can't even find the word for it. Like the wealth that they have because of that Holocaust, but for 6 million people being murdered, but 99 million, you know what I mean, Native Americans could be murdered, enslaved, raped, you know what I mean, just completely violated, and not a penny. You know what I mean? We can be enslaved for generations, you know what I mean, picking cotton, being beat, you know what I mean, being force fed, you know what I mean, all sorts of terrible things, like, and we haven't seen anything. We're still in the ghettos amongst our people. We're still always waking up to poverty. We're waking up to our people being murdered daily, being kidnapped. You know what I mean? It's just it's a wicked place, and it's just like for people to not even see that this is a captivity. You know what I mean? Not to go off subject, but just for that, you know what I mean? Like this is captivity. But all in all, on the subject, like the Jewish men, they're getting their payback for what they got. They're sitting on top of most of the nations, pretty much all the nations at this moment as we speak. You know what I mean? They're calling the shots. They're taking over our land, you know what I mean, and acting as if they're the holy people. You know what I mean? These people, they fit nothing within the prophecies, but you know what I mean, they're living lusciously right now. They're fine. You know what I mean? They have backup and they have all that, but also like going back to it, it's on, how can I say? It's going towards you, just like how Christ was saying. The people that are, you know what I mean, the people that are going to test you are the people that are closest to you. You know what I mean? It could be your children, it could be your parents, it could be your best friends that you hang out with all the time. It could be your spouse. You know what I mean? Regardless, people are going to turn on you for following Christ. You know what I mean? That's how you know you're being tested. That's how you know you're the true people. You know what I mean? When you have to go through that, fire, when you have to go through that test. And I mean, people turn on you is kind of just like it's like phase one. You know what I mean? Like it's not even the worst of what you have to deal with when you're following Christ, when you're holding up Christ's. What was it? You know, take up his cross.
It's like we're actually about to get to that right now.
Oh yeah, okay.
If I could, let's continue with chapter 10. It's like Matthew chapter 10, verse 37 to 38.
The book of Matthew chapter 10 and verse 37. He that loveth father or mother more than me is not worthy of me, and he that loveth son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. Heavy.
This is Christ talking again, right? Did you make that up? Or was that Christ? Okay, I just want to be sure, you know, there's no confusion, you know, for anybody who does believe in God and believe in the Bible. This is Yahweh Shai Mashiach, or as you would know him, Jesus Christ speaking right now. Right. These are his words. He that loveth father or mother more than me is not worthy of me, and he that loveth son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. And he that taketh not his cross and followeth after me is not worthy of me. See, the thing with your Christians churches today, they'll have you sinning Monday through Saturday, come in on Sunday, sing and dance and catch the Holy Ghost, and you'll go back to what you were doing, and he'll tell you that Jesus loves you.
Right.
How in the hell do you love Christ if you don't want to follow after him? because Christ was perfect. Christ never failed the Most High. He was sent to us as an example to show us how to live, which is something that a lot of Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians today, we didn't get that, right? We take for granted for what we have. Today, you know, we taught how to survive because, you know, we just that people. I don't even know how to elaborate on that one. You know, we just always find a way, you know, but we're not taught how to live. You're taught how to survive. And like the scripture says, if you don't follow after me, not me, Christ, you're not worthy of me. Slakia, if I could I get Ephesians? No, Slakia, no. 2 Chronicles 7 and 14, if I could, Brother Show. Now, there might be some confusions to those. Okay, well, what if you are a sinner? As many of us were. I don't want anybody to think that we weren't. We were in the world at one point too. Right. You know, I wasn't born in the truth, but when the truth was set in front of me, I chose to turn away from myself, who I was, you know, the things that I partook in that were wrong, and I chose to change my life, as the brother next to me has also chose to do, and all brothers and sisters in the ISUPK under Commanding General Yohana have chosen to do. Right. You got it? Yeah. 2 Chronicles chapter 7, verse 14.
The book of 2 Chronicles chapter 7 and verse 14. If my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and will heal their land.
This is Christ, right? What's like you know? But this is in the Bible, right?
Right.
This is the same Bible that we all talking about right now. Now, what does that mean? If you sinning, you're not changing yourself. You have to change. You have to turn from your evil, wicked ways now. Some of y'all don't think that what you're doing is evil. You know, eating certain things, partaking in certain holidays. You know, smoking weed, doing drugs. I know there's a lot of my weed smokers out there who feel like they're not doing anything wrong. One of my favorite things to hear is weed comes from the earth. Yeah. You know, okay, well, so does cocaine and heroin and nicotine. Right. Those are all plants. Last time I checked, a lot of ingredients, I mean, first and foremost, all the ingredients that you find in a cigarette, that's on earth. Right. They didn't fly to the They didn't fly to the moon and like get a cigarette and bring it back. That's not what happened. They made that from chemicals and products on earth. Right. But you're gonna smoke that, right? I know. Okay, share something with y'all real quick. This is like years ago. I was applying for to get into the military, right? There was a brother that I knew in the world, you know, who was real cool, and we had to take a drug test, right? Now, I passed my drug test, right? But then this brother, who at the time I knew was smoking weed, I got kind of nervous for him. I'm like, hey, man, like, you know, you want pop, right? Like, he's like, no, I'm good. You know, don't worry about it, right? So he does pop. Here's the funny thing, though. He didn't pop for marijuana. Guess what he popped for? He popped for cocaine. Mm. And he was tripping. Like, we know we're young. Like, we're like 18, you know, we're young right now. And we used to always like crack jokes about stuff like this. Like, yeah, no, we don't do cocaine. That's a white people drug. We don't do nothing like that. Right. And here we are. And this brother popped for coke. And I'm just sitting here thinking like, wait a minute. Like, that's not okay. So for all my weed smokers out there, my cigarette smokers, my vapors, I bump into a lot of people that vape out here. And funny thing they say is, I vape because it's a healthy alternative to smoking. Yeah. And I look at them and I'm just like, you know what's also a healthy alternative to smoking? Not smoking. Like, I mean, I don't know. Am I crazy? Like, I don't know. I'm trying to help you out here. Right. You know, the Bible teaches you how to live correctly. You're healthy, right? Why wouldn't you want to be healthy? Christ wants you to be healthy. He wants you to live a long time if you follow him. But to get more back on subject of the struggles that you're gonna have to face when you follow Christ.
And if I may about the scripture, also like 2 Chronicles, was it 7 and 12?
7 and 14.
7 and 14, and like that is exactly that's the solution we'll need to get out of this captivity. You know what I mean?
Right.
We'll need to change. We'll need to call upon the Lord. You know what I mean? We like that's how they got out of Egypt. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like we have to follow all those steps, and that's why it's detrimental that we get as many of our people woken up to this truth as much as possible, because you know what I mean, we could be stuck in this captivity. You know what I mean?
Oh my goodness.
I'm not trying to do that. Like I want to be in the kingdom. I want to be in my rightful seat. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
As far as being ahead of all these other nations, because we've always been, and all these nations have convinced us that we were beneath them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So what we need to do is we need to change. Only because you smoke weed and you fornicate and you do all this type of stuff, like that's the point of changing. You know what I mean? It's not for you to sit there and just, you know what I mean, judge yourself or judge others and say, oh yeah, well, you know what I mean, I can't do it because, you know what I mean, I do this and I do that, and I'm just a wicked person, so I can't change. Or you are trying to act as if you're all high and mighty right now, but you used to be in the gutter with me. We used to do this together. We used to do that together. I used to see you doing this. Yeah, that's the point. That's the whole point of change. What did you think what repent meant? You know what I mean?
Salakia. Keep going.
Right.
Actually, I got you. Keep going.
Yeah. What did you think that meant? Like it's the point is to change.
Right.
You know what I mean? The point is to not just change, but to take up Christ's cross. Like, because when you do change, it's not just going to be all, you know what I mean, ponies and bunnies and, you know what I mean,
Right.
rainbows and everything. It's going to be war. You're going to have to battle. You're going to battle your flesh. You're going to battle your closest people around you. And this is why Christ is saying, if you love your kids more than me, then you're not worthy of me. If you love your wife more than me or your husband more than me, then you're not worthy of me. If you love your parents more than me, then you're not worthy of me. And you're going to be tested, because all these people are going to challenge you. You know what I mean? Because when following the truth, there's a spirit that comes with it that it's just, if someone's in the world, they see blood automatically. They see blood automatically. It's like a hound dog. Like they just they don't know where this anger is coming from. They don't know where that feeling is coming from. But for some reason, when they see you now, they hate you. They hate what you're becoming. They hate that you are not being the person that they want you to be. You know what I mean? You can sit there and be with someone as far as a relationship, and you guys are together, and they accept you when you were snorting cocaine, when you was, you know what I mean, sleeping with whores, and you know what I mean, smoking cigarettes, smoking weed. They accept you when you're doing that. You know what I mean? It's easy to forgive you. But don't try to live righteously, because if you live righteously, there is no forgiveness that comes with that. They want to do away with you. They want no parts with you. And that is just a challenge within itself. The Most High is challenging you. He's using these people to challenge you to see if you're actually worthy. You know what I mean? Satan knows exactly what to do to hit your soft spots.
Exactly.
He knows exactly what spots to hit. He knows what you love the most. That's why that's why he, like, you know what I mean, in the great words of Captain Mashab, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? The devil don't play fair. Satan don't play fair. You know what I mean?
Boy.
Like, he don't play fair. And he's going to not just going to use these particular things that hurt you the most. He's going to torture you with them. He's going to keep taking things from you that you feel like that you need. He's going to keep punching you. You know what I mean? It's going to be consistent. It's not going to stop.
He's just going to keep punching you. He's going to keep punching you. And the point is for you to endure and you to take those licks to show the Most High, I'm done with that life. I'm not going back to that life. I'm changing. And whether if I got to suffer to change, and whether if I got to suffer to love you, to follow your commandments, I'm going to suffer. And I'm going to go through all this nonsense, regardless if it seems as if my life is over or not, regardless if I'm looking face to face with the Reaper himself. If I'm looking at the grave, I'm still going to follow you into the grave. And that's the whole point of this whole thing. You know what I mean? And you won't get that anywhere else. I guarantee you that. Go follow a Christian church. You won't get that. You won't get those texts. Your life will be just all rainbows and kittens, and you know what I mean. Like you're gonna have a very, very, very nice and wonderful lifestyle because you're not being challenged for it. Because there's nothing that you need to be challenged for. You're not following the Most High. What are you being challenged for? Yeah. When people see you, people are gonna see you going through what you're going through. As far as following this truth, they're going to see all the bad things that happen to you, and they're going to try to use that as a reason of why you shouldn't be following this. They're going to be like, "Oh yeah, well you're going through that. You're going through that. This is why that school is not good for you. This is why those teachers are not good for you. They're teaching hatred, and you following hatred. It's going to be their karma going to come back to you. They're going to keep that's Satan. That's Satan. He's using their mouths to speak all that. What do we have? Same thing he did with Job's wife. You know what I mean?
Oh, right.
The same thing he did with Job's wife. He's going to use those people to try to speak you into giving up. And all these things that are happening to you are going to make it seem as if there is no hope for you.
Salakia, if I could, I really did not want to cut you off.
Right, go ahead. This
brother right here is blazing right now. I did not want to cut you off, Salakia.
No, you good.
I just wanted to bring up something real quick. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't there a certain somebody who was, I don't know, murdering people for following Christ at one point?
Yeah.
And if anybody can guess what I'm talking about, I don't want to give it away. There was a certain someone in the Bible who was murdering followers of Christ. They didn't want them to follow Christ, and Christ gave this brother a chance.
Let's see who knows online.
I just want to see if somebody gets it online.
Who get the first answer and shot you out real quick.
I'm gonna give y'all a second.
Oh yeah, he was killing.
He was killing
of the Lord.
Killing prophets, and Christ gave him a chance. This was a murderer,
right?
And guess what happened to him? Christ, who got it?
Razan.
Who's that?
Razan.
Paul.
So lucky if I'm butchering your name. Razan.
Big Paul.
Vicky.
Hey, yup. Hey, clap it up for him.
Yeah.
It was Paul. Paul was a murderer.
Right.
And Christ gave him a second chance. And you know what Paul started doing? He turned back on everything and started dedicating his life to following Christ and started telling others that they need to follow Christ. You got to imagine, like, this is Paul. Right. They probably looking at him like, wait a minute. Ain't you the same? Wasn't you the one that was telling me, like, you got bodies under your belt right now.
Right.
And now you follow Christ? Blasphemy.
Blasphemy.
But guess what? He did it.
Right.
So who's to say you can't do it?
Right.
What, because you used to smoke weed, you can't turn away from it now? Oh no. I'm on drugs right now. And you know what? I cannot change my life. I cannot sober up. You know, I've been celebrating my birthday for the last 20-something years, you know, and my family's going to look at me funny because I don't want to go to a birthday party and get something to happy birthday.
Oh, man.
You know, I can't turn against my family.
Right.
Going back to the variance that Christ was talking about against father, daughter against mother, right? Daughter-in-law against mother-in-law.
That's right.
You're going to start turning away from that.
Right.
Look at what Paul did. You don't have an excuse.
Right.
You really don't. And Salakia, if I could, to get a little deeper into this, I'm going to go over Ephesians. I got it.
You got it?
I got it. Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12. This is the Bible, by the way. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. To dive in a little deeper on this, right? You got to understand, once you start turning away from sin, I say this to everybody. I feel like I'm about to patent this, I swear. Because I say this every class. Demons love company.
Right.
They like company.
Right.
And up until you decide you don't want to sin anymore, you got demons inside you. You might not feel like it, but you do. And when you hanging around your homeboys from back home and y'all doing Lord knows what, right? And they love you. And it's my boy. You know, we've been friends for, X amount of years. I've known him since I was 9 years old, right? And you've been sinning since then, right? And that demon in them loves the demon in you.
Right.
But hold on now, all of a sudden you chose to get it up out of you. You think that demon wants anything to do with righteousness? Absolutely not.
Right.
Absolutely not. How dare you turn away from me? You used to be like this. What you mean you don't eat pork no more? Man, you tripping. You've been eating pork. I've been eating pork. I'm 60 years old and I'm as healthy as a horse. Little do you know there's a tumor inside of you right now. You probably just didn't know it. Right? Now all of a sudden you don't eat shrimp. You gonna eat what your mother gave you. That's what you're going to do. No, I don't eat that no more. It's the demon in them. At this point, you're not even arguing against your friends and your family.
Right.
It's the demon, the wicked spirits. That's how much that we're battling spirits. I believe it was General Muhammad said this. Life is about warfare. You are constantly fighting from the second you wake up to the moment you go to sleep.
Right.
Hell, probably in your damn dreams.
Right.
You're constantly fighting. But what's wrong with changing? I mean, last time I checked, I thought change was a good thing because, I mean, how are you going to achieve any goals in your life if you're going to remain the same? Don't you got to adjust your lifestyle a little bit if you want to achieve certain things?
No.
What's wrong with that? And I mean, you could apply that to anywhere. I mean, okay, these brothers are in the world, but I'll use them as an example. Your rappers today, right? They rap about all kinds of wicked stuff. But some of them will rap about how, okay, for example, they got a little bit of money now. They got up out the hood. They're doing a little better, right? And all of a sudden, their circle of friends gets real small because they realize that a lot of those people who were quote unquote their friends are now angry at them. Or you think you're better than us now. Or you think you're good now because you got a new whip. Or you got some new jewelry now. You got a bigger house. You remember you used to be in the trenches with us at one point. Don't forget where you came from.
Right.
That is hateful and evil as hell.
Right.
I pray that every single brother and sister changes their life. Whether if I know you personally or not, I would want that for you. Christ wants that for you. And Slagi, if I could, I'm gonna go to just to go more into this. We're gonna go to Ephesians chapter 22. Slagi, before I go, did you have anything?
No, you pretty much, hit the nail on the head. Pretty much the same.
I don't want to talk too much.
Go ahead.
We're going to be going over Ephesians chapter 4, verse 22. Salakia. Actually, we'll start at verse 21. Salakia. If so be that ye have heard him and have been taught by him, as the truth is in Yahushai, or Jesus Christ in the Bible, right? Verse 22, that ye put off concerning the former conversation the old man, which is corrupt according to the deceitful lust. What is this old man? Let's see if I can get some participants real quick. What is this old man that the Bible is talking of right now? If anybody can answer in the comments real quick, I'll give y'all a second.
The old man.
The old man. This goes for sisters too.
And it's amazing how the Bible, use these particular titles for certain things and certain people. Because
You know what I mean? Other nations will never be able to catch on to what is really being said. They're going to think the old man, they must be talking about, who was old in the Bible? Must be talking about Abraham, like, you know what I mean?
Salaki, who's this? Vicky, your old self. Clap it up.
Yeah.
Your old self. Who
Yeah,
you?
too.
Salaki, go ahead.
No, you got it.
Salaki, if I could, your old self. Your old self. Now, we've all been through certain things, right? All of us. You know, the demons that I probably had to fight back then might be different from the brother next to me's demons. His might be different from yours. You know, but we all had to go through things. Especially the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian woman and man. We've all been through something, right? And going back to what I was stating previously of, you're not taught how to live. You're taught how to survive. I don't know if I could, I'll use this as an example. There was a post that was made not that long ago by yours truly. It's a lot. I tried to go away from it, but I have to bring it up.
Right.
The post was about gay pride. And if you support gay pride, then you support child molestation. The reason why I brought that post up is because there are many poor Black, Hispanic, and Native women and men today who are homosexuals because they were violated at some point in their life.
Secret society.
You know, there was a demon that was put on them, a horrible, traumatic event that they had to go through.
Yeah.
And you want to know what happened? It never got fixed.
Right.
They never got, first of all, they should have had the protection that they needed, but they didn't. And then when it did happen, they didn't get the guidance, they didn't get the nurturing, they didn't get what they needed in order to get that out of them.
Right.
Now I know there's going to be a few that are going to argue, well, what about the ones that weren't sexually assaulted? Well, you were groomed to be that way.
Right.
A brother brought up a good point not that long ago. He said a child will eat their own boogers unless you tell them not to, right? How you even identify as a lesbian or a gay man at the age of 2 and you can barely even form words and your teeth are still growing in is complete blasphemy, okay? But getting back on topic, something horrible happened to those people, right?
It's like that. I mean,
So go ahead.
you know what I mean? And you should have got deeper into that post too. You know what I mean? You should have also said, and all these whores out here too.
Hey, look, it was a long week, Slack.
Because it is what you said was completely true. Like, you know what I mean? Like, majority of this whole behavior, this sexual behavior, is coming from, it's a cry for help. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You've been through something in your past. You know what I mean? That's why I call them the secret society, because I mean they're not gonna be a secret for too long. They're gonna come out in a minute.
They
slide. I mean, they sliding in. They slowly sliding in, and once they're accepted, you know what I mean? Hey, which man. I mean they're pretty much already being accepted as it is already. The whore behavior, the homosexuality, all these things are the branches off of the stem of child molestation. You know what I'm saying? You like, there's no getting around that. You know what I mean? You develop these, and sometimes it's like people's psychological issues. They're like some little boys sometimes develop mannerisms of their wicked mother because you know what I mean the father didn't want anything to do with them or something like that. Like those are the minimum, but the majority of all this whole flamboyancy, this homosexuality, this way of being, it's coming from molestation. It's a lot of secret molestation going on, and we don't know about it because people are too ashamed to admit to it. You know what I mean? Exactly. And this is why coming to ISUBK is so important, because you know what I mean, you leave your old self. You leave your old self in the past and you become a new. That's why you get your new name. Exactly. You get your new personality, you get your new structure, you know what I mean? And you know what I mean, you get new morals, and you live your life out from being a new. That old person is dead and gone, and that person that was in sin is gone. Now, I'm not saying that, you know what I mean, it's the child's fault.
Exactly.
But but you instead of you making the situation right, you know what I mean? You acted upon it. You held that trauma in, and you acted upon it sexually. So you forced yourself into a attraction to the same sex. You forced yourself into a, you know what I mean, a traumatizing mind state where, okay, my father's not here, so I'm just gonna be a boy. Even though I'm a girl, I'm gonna be a boy because maybe he just didn't love me because I wasn't a boy. Maybe he didn't want to be around me because I wasn't a boy. Or little boys, like my father didn't want to be in my life, so I hate him, and I hate men, and I hate, you know what I mean? Like you know what I'm saying? So, but because he's not here, you know what I mean? Why wouldn't he love me? My uncle, he loved me when he came in my room in the middle of the night. Like he told me he loved me before he did what he did to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's just like, you know what I mean? Not to go too far deep into that, you know what I mean? But you made a pretty solid point when you said that online, and not just that, like, you know what I mean? Like you about to get into, like people were debating with you about that.
Salaki, if I could, they wasn't debating. Look, they were angry. They were extremely angry, right? And just to touch on real quick, you know, the poor victims that I was talking about, they didn't, from that point on for the rest of their life until they get fixed, they didn't learn how to live. They learned how to survive. They learned to cope with the trauma that they had to deal with. And they just said, like you said, well, you know, I'm a 5-year-old little boy, and I was touched by my high school teacher, not high school teacher, your uncle or something like that. So, I mean, since I was touched by a man, I guess I like men. You know, I guess that's just how it is. You know, children are sponges. You know, they can get filled with clean water or dirty water. I think it's between the ages of like 1 and 5. You teach a child how to do something, they never truly forget. Like, for example, teach a kid how to play the piano. Right? Let's say they don't like to play the piano that much when they get older, but it's like a reflex. They just know how to do it. You know, it could be anything, good or bad. But to go more on what you said about coming into this truth, if I could, Ephesians chapter 4, I'll start back at verse 22, just so we can cover the whole thing. That ye put off concerning the former conversation, the old man, like we brought up earlier, your old self, which is corrupt according to the deceitful lust, and be renewed in the spirit of your mind, that ye put on the new man, which after God is created in righteousness and true holiness. To be holy means to be, I'll let somebody answer in the comments. I like y'all participation today. I just want to say the water to the brothers and sisters that are participating. But to go on to that,
what is it?
You chose to make yourself a new person. That's the whole point. For brothers and sisters who have been in long enough, you get your name, right? And just so we're clear, we don't give you that name. Your camp leader don't give you that name. The Most High gave you that name through the priests and prophets, right? And Salaki, if I could, Natazak, what's your name mean?
My name means victory.
Means victory.
Or victorious.
Or victorious. You know, just to share with y'all, my name is Itazam. It means mighty. I keep it a buck with you right now. Way before I came into this truth, that was the last thing I thought of myself. I just keep it real with you, right? I still remember when I did get my name, you know, and they said, well, your name, you know, Itazam. I said, the hell is that? Like, you know, I was still new. I'm like, what does that mean? You know, and then I was told that it means mighty. I'm thinking to myself, like, whoa, what? Like me, you know? But I took that very seriously as priest and officer Natazak took his name, and as all brothers and sisters who come into this truth should take your name seriously. It's like, what's this?
So
separate means to be holy. Clap it up. That's exactly what it means.
So Relief and Vicky tied up right now. 2 and 2.
Hey, y'all going right now. Y'all going. Hey, I love it though. But yes, to be holy is to be separate. And this is the Holy Bible, right? put in context for you, this is separate from everything else that you know or you thought you knew, right? But to go back a little bit more on you becoming a new person, that is a beautiful thing.
Right.
Don't take this lightly. There are brothers and sisters who are dead today. We just had not even that long ago, DMX, remember?
Right.
You know, now I mean I still remember being in the car, you know, as a kid, my father picking me up from school, and he's blasting DMX. So you know, I was a big DMX fan, right?
Right.
And you know, I just remembered all his songs, right? And that brother died a crackhead, right? And that
he lived
that's
a crackhead.
yeah, Salakia, he lived his whole life, or should I say survived his whole life, because he wasn't
Right.
really living, as a crackhead. He was struggling with this addiction that he had. And sadly, you know, may he rise again a better man. He could not fight that demon off.
All right.
And it consumed him and it killed him at 50.
Right.
50's not that old. I just want to
Right.
put that out there. 50 is not old.
I hope not.
But he's Salakia. But the brother passed away due to a drug addiction because he could not change himself.
Right.
The Lord gave him a gift. This brother, I mean, nobody else sounded like DMX.
Right.
You know, and
That's a fact.
yeah, you know, like brother had his own sound. You know, his concerts were, you know, legendary. Personal opinion, you know, but he died. But you're still alive today. You're still breathing. Your lungs are still working. You're still able to see. You know, you can still move and talk. You know, you still have motor functions. You got a chance.
Right.
Now we brought up earlier with Paul. Paul was a murderer.
Right.
And he changed his life because he chose to follow Christ.
And you got to think too, like, he wasn't just accepted from the prophets as like that.
Oh no!
They probably were looking at him like he trying something like
who this?
he wasn't he just killing us, like, you know what I mean? How we supposed to just accept him as our brother like that? But you know what I mean? He was getting it from both ends. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But you know what I mean? He held up his cross. You know what I mean?
Man.
But you know what I mean? Yeah, it's like
no. You know, you swallow. That's an excellent point. You know, he just imagine what that brother was going through. You know, from him doing such a horrible thing continuously. By the way, it wasn't like a one-time thing. He was continuously killing people that were trying to follow Christ.
Right.
And Christ looked at him, and he convinced that brother to follow him, change his whole ways, and now he's one of his disciples.
All right.
And who's to say that you can't change your life? You can put the weed down. You can. You're still alive today. You still have time. Don't take it for granted though. Tomorrow, I was
gonna say, if I may with that too, like, because the whole topic of the, you know what I mean, the class is battling spirits. Like, smoking weed is a spirit.
It is.
You know what I mean? Having that, what is it? That sexual, you know what I mean, aggression, like that lust,
right,
for, you know what I mean, not unnatural sexual lust. Like, you want to be with a dead body or an animal, or, you know what I mean? Like, all these things are just spirits. Now, you have to accept the fact, the first stage is accepting the fact that these things are spirits. It's not you. You know what I mean? Like, when you go into the Bible, like, the Old Testament speaks on familiar spirits. The New Testament speaks on unclean spirits. You know what I mean? And familiar spirits is heavy because every time when we sit over here and we sink into sin, we think it's us that's doing it. We think it's us that's convincing ourselves that we want to do it. We want to do it. We want to do it. We keep following our flesh. We keep following our flesh. And we do have some parts into it, but that convincing is coming from that spirit. Mm-hmm. That spirit is letting you know, you bored right now? Man, let's go roll something up. Man. You know what I mean? You like, all right, this is just we about to just have a regular night. Let's make this night fun and let's make it extravagant. Let's go get that woman, that whore over there, and let's go sleep with her and go about our business. You know what I mean? And go tell our friends we had a good night. You know what I mean? Like, all these things are being put into your head as an idea first, and then that idea grows because you attract yourself to it. Now, if you knew that idea was wrong, you wouldn't be so attracted to it. You know what I mean? If you knew it was wrong, if you knew that the Most High looked at that as an abomination, you wouldn't be so attracted to it. But because you don't know the laws and you don't know that you're supposed to follow the laws, is why that demon can implant something in your head and you'll just keep acting upon it thinking that it's you that did it, and it's not. He's using you to be a tool of sin. He's using you to, you know what I mean? And then once that sin gets so great and deep, then you start dealing with the bigger demons. That's when you get to the child molestation. That's when you get to the cocaine addiction, the crack addiction, and that's when you get to the, you know what I mean, the homosexuality. That's when you get deep into it, because you entertain those ideas, right. And it starts off small and it ends off great because that lust just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Now, in order to be able to battle these things, is to realize what you're dealing with. And that's why you learn the law, statutes, and commandments. You know what I mean? You learn what God wants and what he doesn't want. You set yourself apart and you become holy. You know what I mean? You sit there and you put in your mind the goods and the evils, what I should be doing, what is righteous and what's non-righteous. So how do you battle the demon? Knowing that it is a demon. Knowing that it is wrong, and knowing that it is, or Salakia, knowing that it is a spirit, an unclean spirit, and knowing that it is wrong, and it's trying to trick you into thinking that you need to do this.
Right.
That's the first thing. The second thing is you've got to endure, because usually when we're in the world, we already have sin on us already. We're already locked in already. You know what I mean? And we don't even know it. Like, until we start cutting things off. The next thing is to endure, like smoking cigarettes. Smoking cigarettes is a big thing. Smoking cigarettes is not about to leave you. Smoking cigarettes is going to consistently keep urging you, because it's an oral fixation. You know what I mean? Right. Like, it's not just smoking it. It's taking out hitting the box. It's taking out the box. It's putting it in your mouth. It's lighting up. It's all those routine things they're all like, they're a part of you. They're attached to you. All those things it's a spiritual thing. You know what I mean? All the way to smoking it down to the butt and just flicking it off. Like, everything about it, you have some type of attachment to it. You know what I mean? So in order to battle it, you have to endure that I'm just not going to be around it. I'm not going to touch it. I'm not going to smell it. I'm just not going. I'm going to starve this spirit out. You know what I mean? I'm gonna starve it. You know what I mean? And that's the way of battling these spirits, is starving them. You know what I mean? Not giving it what it wants. If something is implanted in your mind that you want to do something that you shouldn't be doing, you need to starve it. Think of something else. You can focus on something else. You know what I mean? And so much so to the point where you're not even thinking about that no more. You're not even thinking about smoking cigarettes no more. You're not even thinking about, even though those urges will still come to you, you have to understand that this is just an unclean spirit doing its job.
So no, hey, what the brother's bringing out is heavy. And if I could, I just want to read a few more of Ephesians chapter 4. We already read 21, 22, and 23. So I'll get to 24. So we'll start at verse 25. The book of Ephesians chapter 4, verse 25. Wherefore, putting away lying, speak every man truth with his neighbor, for we are members of one another. To break that down for you, let's say you was a habitual liar, once upon a time ago. But now you're like, you know what? I don't want to do that anymore. I want to speak truth to brothers and sisters, right? Because you know what it was like to be like that. You don't want them to follow what you used to do. Verse 26, be ye angry and sin not. Let not the sun go down upon your wrath, neither give place to the devil. Let him that stole steal no more. Again, showing you, look, this is repenting right now, right? Repenting is you stop. Right. You can turn away from sin. I know there's a few out there, again, like we brought up with Paul, you feel like, I don't know, I feel like I'm not worthy. Let's say you were a thief. If you was a thief, this is the one for you right now. Right. Let him that stole steal no more, but rather let him labor, working with his hands the thing, Salakia, which is good, that he may have to give to him that needeth. You might turn yourself from a thief to somebody that brings joy to the brothers and sisters around you. I mean, come on now. Let's say you, I don't know, you start doing food drives. You helping brothers and sisters in need. Right? The ISUPK and the Command General Yohana, we do that, right? Brothers and sisters who turned away from their selfish, evil ways, and you said, you know what? I want to give back to the community. I want to make sure that this brother, even though he might be gone off drugs, he don't have a place to stay. I want to make sure that you eat tonight. I want to make sure you eat tonight. Right? Verse 29. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers. I mean, come on, man. Come on. You trying to do good. You can do good. Like I stated before, you're still alive today. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I see on Facebook of somebody that I might have known back in high school, and they're in jail or they died, because they couldn't get away from their wicked ways. I've known these people since we were 11 years old, and you died at 23, 24. You didn't even have kids yet. And for what? Because you wanted to keep being a thief? Because you couldn't say no to the drugs? Because you couldn't stop, you couldn't get out the game, you wanted to keep dealing drugs, you got caught up with something? Because you hated your brother so much you had to murder him? Because you're an alcoholic and somebody had to die because of you, or you lost your life? Sinning is not winning. All right? It's not. But you have time. Please, I'm begging you, please do not take it for granted. You have a chance. Every day you wake up, you got a chance. Right? And understand, like Christ said before, you're going to have some haters, right? They're not going to like you. But hold on, it's not them that hate.
Yeah, there it is.
It's the demon in them that hates the fact that you're turning away from them. So now I was convincing them, you can't rock with him no more. He ain't never used to speak out on stuff like this. Who the hell he think he is?
That's heavy.
What you mean you don't want to? Oh my goodness, I've seen this before. This is sad. It could be a sister. Let's say she was a rather promiscuous woman back in the day, right? And she decided, you know what? I don't want to. No, I'm gonna close my legs, right? The next man I get with, I want to have an actual relationship with this man. But hold up, just like we brought up with those familiar spirits, some of them brothers back in the day, or they might have heard about you from back in the day, like, oh yeah, she used to do this, and this. Or I heard about her. Hey, let me get at her real quick. And that sister says no. Now all of a sudden they looking at her like, wait a minute, nah, you used to do all this last year. What you mean no? What you think? Oh, you think you're clean now? That sister wanted to change her life. Maybe that sister decided, oh, I don't know, maybe I don't want to get an STD. Maybe I should close my legs up. Maybe she wants to set an example for another sister. I've seen that happen. It might be a sister in the world, or actual, maybe like a little sister, someone in your family that may look up to you, and you decided, you know what, I want to set an example of what a woman should be. So I'm going to stop doing certain things. But them familiar spirits are going to try to remind you who you were back in the day. You're not better now. You just the same way you was back then, and you need to come back. And you turn your back to it. Now they mad at you. But again, it's not the people, it's the demons in them that are mad at you. So you just endure, Slocky.
So that's heavy, because it's just like, not only because that unclean spirit sense righteousness on you, it's trying to pull that person away from you, from receiving any knowledge of what they know. So it's always that that point of interest that can change a whole person's life. You know what I'm saying? That one thought of interest, like, okay, so what exactly are you guys doing? Like, what exactly are you following? Why don't you
Why do you guys have such an issue with the Christian church or the Catholic church or you know what I mean, the Muslim mosque? Like what is it that you guys set yourself apart on? And that interest that develops into curiosity. That curiosity develops into wanting to learn, getting that knowledge. When you want it, you get it, and then once you get it, you start to tend to it that you need it. Okay, I understand that. I get that. That makes sense. What else? Like, you know what I mean? Okay. Oh, really? That so they teach that. They've been teaching us that this whole time, and that's not in the Bible. Like, so what else is there? Like, what else do you know? And all that comes into you stepping into the truth, which is what that spirit does not want.
Exactly. And if I could, what you're bringing out is so heavy. That demon is terrifying.
Yes.
Because if you show that you can change and let that thought creep into a brother or a sister, like, yeah, I know him from back in the day. He used to not be like that. Let me see what he on, or let me see what she on. Oh, okay, y'all actually help out your people, and you know what? That might be something that I might be interested in. I want to learn more. That demon is horrified, because guess what? If that brother or sister decides that they want to be righteous all of a sudden, that demon is out of there.
Right.
They're gone. Now they got to go find somebody else.
And if I can too, on that note, Matthew's what is it, 12?
What you got? Matthew's 12.
Matthew's 12 and 43.
Matthew's 12 and 43. I'll read it. Matthew's, you said 12 and 43.
So like that's,
I got it.
I mean that's a good one, but I mean, I really want to get into Christ and the legion. But we can do that one right now.
No, so you want
Matthew's 12 and 43. Yeah.
43? Come. The book of Matthew, chapter 12, verse 43. When the unclean, I know this one. When the unclean spirit is gone out of a man, he walketh through dry places, seeking rest, and findeth none. Keep reading.
Go.
Verse 44. Then he saith, I will return into my house from whence I came out. Ooh. And when he is come, he findeth it empty, swept, and garnished. Verse 45. Then goeth he and taketh with himself 7 other spirits more wicked than himself. And they enter in and dwell there. And the last state of that man is worse than the first. Even so shall it be also unto this wicked generation.
And this is why if you find this truth, it's so important to stay in this truth. Because leaving this truth and even being in this truth, you're going to be like the whole thing is about. We're battling. But leaving, you know what I mean? Like this verse, these verses are explaining exactly what an unclean spirit does. It'll leave, but it's not leaving you completely. He didn't just leave and like, oh yeah, you stop smoking cigarettes, you stop, you know what I mean? You stop what? Eating unclean foods and all these things like that. Like, he didn't just leave and he's just like, oh yeah, you'll never again will you ever feel the urges to not want to do these things. No, he left to go get his buddies so he can come and they can all try to jump you into doing exactly what you used to do. You know what I mean? He's not just going to leave you right off the rip. He's going to leave and he's coming with a multitude of spirits so they can, you know what I mean, that are stronger than him. So you're going to go through one stage. It's like playing a video game, like playing Sonic. You go through one stage and you end up in the next stage, into the next stage. Like what is that, Pac-Man? Like you just keep on ending up in different stages that are more complicated that you're going to have to keep battling through. And that is and until you get to the reward, which the reward is salvation. You know what I mean?
Right.
The reward is being able to get crowned
You know what I mean? By Yahweh Shai himself. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And to be looked upon as, oh yeah, he endured to the end.
Mhm. Man.
He chose. He had a choice between sin or death, and he rather choose death than sin. You know what I mean? Because it goes hand in hand. Even if you choose sin, you still will end up in death. But if you choose to live righteously, and you know what I mean, and even if you had to look upon the face of death, and you still chose righteousness, man, that's a crown that's well deserved.
Salakia, if I could, just to set another example with the Bible, there were brothers who died because they didn't want to eat pork.
Right.
They died
Right.
because they refused to eat a slice of ham. That's how devoted they were to the Most High. And if I could, you know, because what you're bringing out is so heavy. Like this is an excellent precept for y'all. For I mean, I pray you don't think this, but I pray no brother or sister ever leaves the truth. Because if you do, I mean, realistically, first and foremost, what are you returning to? There's
Right.
nothing for you on the other side. I promise you that much, right? But if you do, like the brother pointed out earlier, the demon never really left. If you get my point, like he chilling outside, like you said, with his boys, and the door's locked right now, right? Because you chose to shut the door on them and say, you know what, nah, I ain't rocking with you no more. I choose to follow Christ and keep the law, statutes, and commandments. And that demon is mad as hell. So he's just sitting there, just waiting. As soon as you crack open that door, they are going to swarm you. And if you decide, you know what, you just lost faith, that door's not existent. It's not even there anymore. And now he's waiting with 7 other demons to jump you. And now it's going to be that much worse for you after you leave. And if I could, real quick, you got to understand that the law was given to us, right? Think of, okay, let me put it into a perspective for y'all. Think of like a strict parent, right? For all my brothers and sisters out there who have children, you want your kids to do good, right? Let's say your child gets in trouble because they start stealing, right? Now you correct them. You tell them, hey, you know, you're not supposed to do that. You discipline them accordingly. You know, now your child knows that they are not supposed to steal. But then they do it again. My father used to tell me this all the time, like, you know, now that I, you know, paraphrasing, like, now that I know that I'm not supposed to do this, I just chose to just deliberately disobey you. Now the punishment is going to be that much worse because now you know better. There are brothers and sisters out there, they don't know nothing about the truth. They just living their lives, sinning away. You know, that's still the Lord's people, don't get me wrong, right? And they're going to get punished. But you got to put it into perspective, they don't know any better. You come into here, you learn the law. You learn the scriptures. You got precepts now. You have guidance. You don't have an excuse anymore. Because now, if you turn your back on this truth, you turn your back on Christ, and you turn your back on the Most High. What do you think is going to happen to you if you so choose to do that? Now, I'm not telling you this to scare anybody off. I'm being real with you, all right? Keep it a buck. It's going to be that much worse for you. And why would you even want to do something like that anyway? The Lord just gave you the blueprints on how to live your life. And not just for you, but for your kids' kids. Hell, you might even inspire your parents. They might come into the truth. There might be a sister at your slave, you know, y'all cool, whatever, and she sees what you want, and she might be thinking, you know what? I like the way she carries herself. You know, I like what she does. I might actually do that. But then hold up, let's say you leave. You're like, oh, I don't want to do it no more. Now that sister gonna look at you like, wait a minute, was it not the truth? Oh, I mean, well, I have a lot of respect for this person, so since they chose to leave, I'm gonna leave too. Matter of fact, I'm not even gonna get involved. And that is one less sister or a brother that gets to be exposed to the truth and change their life. Now you just doom them along with yourself. And that's selfish.
Right.
It's like, you got anything?
I mean, That's just, I mean, I would say that's just the way that a spirit will work. You know what I mean? They need you to feel like what you're doing is the norm, and they need you to feel like what you're doing is, you know what I mean, pleasant to you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it might be pleasing to your flesh, but you know what I mean, your spirit is just low, and you're literally the walking dead. Like you're walking with no substance. Like you just a bag of blood. You know what I mean? Just walking around.
Man,
you know what I
bag
mean?
of blood.
You just like, and then not just that, like you feel it too, because even in sin, living in sin, you want to do right, and you want to live right. That thought is always in your head. Now, you know what I mean? That's why people do go to Christian churches, and they feel like they want, you know what I mean? Like they want to do right. They just don't know the right way. And then when it comes to them having to be challenged, they don't want to face those challenges. You know what I mean? They don't want to really get rid of the sin, but they want to please the Most High.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Salakia, if I could, not to cut you off, just
No.
to kind of go more on, you know, the opportunity that you're given once you're in here. If I could, I'm going to go to Romans chapter 1, verse 24. Wherefore God also gave them up to uncleanly. Oh, Salakia, hold on. Change the truth. We'll do 24. Salakia. The book of Romans chapter 1, verse 24. Wherefore God also gave them up to uncleanliness through the lust of their hearts to dishonor their own bodies between themselves. Who changed the truth of God into a lie and worshiped and served the creature more than the Creator, who is blessed forever. Amen. For this cause God gave them up unto vile afflictions, going over what I said earlier. You know, you learned the truth, but you still chose to sin. You just turned your back on the Most High. So this is the precept for that right here. For this cause God gave them up unto vile afflictions, for even their women did change the natural use in which is against nature. Now, the vile affections. You chose to turn your back on the Most High. Apparently, for some reason, I mean, we went over this, I believe, not last class, but the class before that. Israel, Black Hispanics, and Native Indians were very hard-headed. For some odd reason, we felt like God ain't good enough. You know, remember, the Most High made a king out of his anger. That was Saul, you know, who was a Benjamite brother, or a West Indian today, you know, from my Jamaican, Trinidadian island brothers out there, right? But why did he make Saul a king? Because for whatever reason, we wanted to be like the other nations. We wanted to be just like everybody else. They serve kings, but we serve the Most High, right? But it wasn't good enough. So, okay, the Most High gave us what we wanted. Give us what we wanted, right? And Saul, look, for lack of a better term, Saul sucked. All right, Salakia. Like the brother was just. I mean, I don't even like saying the term brother. You could read all about Saul, and you know how he treated the prophets, how he treated David, how he treated that brother.
Right.
And the Most High had to bring up a better man than him. You could read all about that, right? But we chose to be disobedient. And you can read in the Apocrypha, Salakia, I'm roughly paraphrasing, when we were brought up out of Egypt, you know, the Lord brought us up out of bondage. And at one point, we were complaining, like, I'd rather be back in Egypt. I don't want to do this. You know how ungrateful that sounds? Don't turn your back on the Most High, man. Right? Like I brought up earlier, there's brothers and sisters out here who they wish they had the truth. And Lord allow it, they get to be in here too. But you have it right now. And for those who may be watching or might see this in the future, this is your chance right now. Because me personally, I don't know how much longer you got. The Lord got you on a timer. And you better get right while you still can. Slavia, you got something?
I actually got a scripture on the resolution of dealing with unclean spirits. And it is It's Matthew 5.
Matthew 5.
Matthew 5, and let's start off at let's start at 8.
8, okay.
And it says, "For he said unto him, Come out of the man, thou unclean spirit." Now this is a situation where, Yahushua is dealing with this man who has a multitude of unclean spirits in him. Like we would call it in today's, like he was possessed.
Salakia, which one was that?
That's
Matthew.
Mark, Salakia, Mark 5 and 8.
Salakia. Go ahead.
And Salakia. And so this man, he was pretty much how we see like on the streets of San Bernardino every day, these people with legions of spirits of them, and legion meaning many, like, a multitude. Like they're not themselves anymore. They've completely been taken over by these spirits, which is the conclusion of the situation. Like these spirits want you to die. They want to take over your mind, body, and soul, and they want you to die. That is what their purpose is of why they're even existing. That's their task, is to make you feel good, make you adapt, make you continuously keep following sin, and then eventually, be consumed with it and eventually die. Okay, so verse 8, "For he said unto him, Come out of the man, thou unclean spirit, thou unclean spirit. And he asked him, What is thy name? And he answered, saying, My name is Legion, for we are many. And he besought him much that he would not send them away out of the country. Now there was there nigh unto the mountains a great herd of swine feeding. And all the devils besought him, saying, Send us into the swine, that we may enter into them. And forthwith Yahushua gave them leave. And the unclean spirits went out and entered into the swine, and the herd ran violently down a steep place into the sea." Now, just to get on that, like this man, he was completely taken over. He wouldn't wear shoes. He wouldn't sleep in to places. Like he was completely consumed with spirits. And the solution to him was Yahushua, which is the solution to all of us. You're not going to be able to, you're not going to be able to beat these spirits without Yahushua, without the Most High. You have to follow them wholeheartedly. And you'll be able to receive the tools to be able to face these demons, to face these battles. And it won't be so much onto you to the point where you feel like you can't win. As long as you have Yahushua, as long as you have the Most High, you are going to be able to win this battle regardless of whatever the situation is. This man had thousands of demons or unclean spirits within him, and Yahushua, which shows you also that the Christian church is teaching you a lie, because they'll make it seem as if God has a nemesis. They'll make it seem as if the real battle you're facing is good versus the evil, which is God versus Satan, and it's not like that. These unclean spirits recognize authority, and they were fearful when they seen Yahushua, and they said, "What can we do for you? Like, is it our time yet? Like, And so when Yahushua cast them out, he said, "Get out of them." And they asked him if they could go into these herd of swine. They didn't sit there and say, "Oh, we just like this was some type of battle or something like that." They recognized who the authority was, and they asked him if they can go into this herd of swine. They went into the herd of swine, and they jumped into the sea and died. Spirits recognize who the main authority is. Your job is to follow the highest authority. You're going to follow, your job is to follow your King, Yahushua, and to do his Father's laws, which is our Father, and do his laws, statutes, and commandments. That's our job. And anything you're doing other than that, it's an unclean spirit. Point blank, period. So recognize who the authority is. Recognize that whatever you're going through, you can beat this battle because the demons or the unclean spirits in you recognize who the authority is. So if you're following Christ, there's nothing that they can do that can overpower you, that can kill you. You know what I mean? As long as you're following Christ and you're following the Most High's commandments, His statutes and commandments, then you know what I mean. There's nothing you need to worry about. Anything that you go through, as far as you know what I mean, the test of carrying the cross, you're going to beat it, regardless of how bad it looks, regardless of how deep down in darkness you go to have to battle this test. You're going to beat it. There's a victory at the end of the day. There's a itazam natazam. There's a mighty victory at the end of the day. You know what I mean? That's what we need to name the show. That's what we need to name the show, Mighty Victory. Oh, but there is a victory at the end of the day. And all you have to do is cling on to your King. That's it. And that's it. And as long as you know that you're living righteously and you're living right, you're not going to lose any battle. What is the scripture? When have I forsaken anyone who called upon my name? I'm paraphrasing, but something like that.
When you're talking about, I know what you mean.
Salakia, but yeah, like you'll never lose as long as you're living righteously, you will never lose. But the thing about it is, in order to live righteously, you have to get those unclean spirits cast out. You have to change. You have to become anew. You know what I mean? You have to become a different righteous person. You can't try to linger on to what you used to be in the world. You have to step out of that, because all you're going to do is try to put one foot in, one foot out, and then you're just playing the lukewarm position. You know what I mean? The Most High wants you to be firing hot. He does not want you to be lukewarm.
Salagia, if I could, didn't they say, if paraphrasing, of course, if you lukewarm, didn't Christ say He's going to spew you out of his mouth?
Right.
Christ don't want no lukewarm person up in here. Let me tell you something right now. Like you said, either you all in or you all out. Right. But you'll know that. But for the sake of time, I just want to say to Wada, to the Akim and Agwakim for tuning in. Also want to remember, tell y'all to remember to pay your tithes. All right. And thank you for tuning in. And with that, we'll be closing the Sabbath service. So it will be a Majim, just me and the brother up here. That's why. Oh. Sorry, it's me. Sorry.
Maya Sharala.
Sorry, it's me. Sorry, it's me. Madim upon Yahakwadam, which means to rise and face the east. Going over the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Wadash, Ayah, Shemka, Yahweh, Malakut Taba'ah, Zaka, Ayah, Aisha, Ma'aratazah, Kawak, Ayah, Bashamayim.
Mashamayim.
Thunder now.
The thunder now.
Lakum.
Become.
Call.
Call.
Yawam.
Yawam.
Masalak now.
Masalakwa now.
Kabawaki now.
Kabawaki now.
Kasalak now.
Kasalak now.
Kabawaki now.
Kabawaki now.
Wala'a.
Wala.
Kabaya now.
Kabaya now.
Masaiwan.
Masaiwan.
Above.
Above.
Kabashai now.
Kabashai now.
Mayan.
Mayan.
Rai.
Rai.
Kaya.
Kaya.
Lakub.
Lakub.
Kabalakwa.
Kamalakwa.
Wa'ala.
Wa'ala.
Watapara.
Power.
Awalami.
Mayan.
Amen.
Amen. The Lord's Prayer in the English. Our Father,
Our Father,
which art in heaven,
which art in heaven,
hallowed be thy name.
hallowed be thy name.
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
thy kingdom
thy
come,
kingdom come,
thy will be
thy
done
will be done
in earth
in earth
as it is in heaven.
as it is in heaven.
Give us this
Give
day
us this day
our daily
our
bread,
daily bread.
and forgive us our debts
Forgive us our debts
as we forgive our
as
debtors.
we forgive our debtors.
And lead us not
And lead us not
into
into
temptation,
temptation,
but deliver
but
us
deliver us
from evil.
from evil.
For thine is the kingdom,
From thine is the kingdom,
and the power,
and the power,
and the glory,
and the glory,
forever.
forever.
So be it.
So be it. Akad is the power in the Hebrew. Yahweh.
Yahweh,
Ba'ashem.
Ba'ashem,
Yahushai.
Yahushai,
Babakashah.
Babakashah,
Thunder now.
Thunder now.
Bakah.
Akah,
Bakah.
Akah,
Larapa'ah.
Ma'ah,
Call.
Call,
Makalah.
Makalak,
Wakal.
Makal,
Adawah.
Adawah,
Bakah.
Akah,
Latahar.
Latahar,
Ha.
Ha,
Matazariah.
Matazariah,
Bakah.
Akah,
La'akwayim.
La'akwayim,
Amathia.
Amathia,
Bakah.
Akah,
Al.
Al,
Rakawah.
Makawak,
Tama Allah.
Sama'ala,
Garashun.
Garasham,
Ba'ashem.
Ba'ashem,
Yahushai.
Yahushai,
Fawad.
Mawada.
Amen.
Amen. The power in the English. Yahweh,
Yahweh.
in the name of Yahweh
In
Shai,
the name of Yahushai.
please
Please
give us the power,
give us the power.
the power to
The
heal
power to heal
all manner of sickness,
all manner of sickness
and all manner of disease,
and all manner of disease.
the power to cleanse the
The
lepers,
power to cleanse the
the
lepers.
power to raise the
The
dead,
power to raise the dead.
the power against unclean
The
spirits,
power against unclean spirits.
to cast them
To
out,
cast them out.
in the name of Yahweh
In
Shai.
the name of Yahushai.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So be it.
So be it. The blessings in the Hebrew. Barakatah Yahweh.
Barakatah Yahweh,
Yahushai.
Wa Yahweh Shai,
Wamiyaka Allah.
Wa Ma'akala,
Wa Alahayim.
Wa Alahayim,
Matazab Ya'ab.
Wa Tazab Yahab,
Alawak Yahanan.
Alawak Yahanam,
Ha Alawapim.
Alawapim,
Hasaranim.
Hasabanyam,
Hapotazayoyim.
Achmatazayoyim,
Hakayayoyim.
Achayayoyim,
Waha Agwafim.
Wahawakim,
Yahweh.
Yahweh,
Ba'ashem.
Ba'ashem,
Yahushai.
Yahweh Shai,
Tawad.
Wada.
Amen.
Amen. The blessings in the English. Bless you, Yahweh.
Bless you, Yahweh.
And Yahweh Shai.
And Yahushai.
And Michael.
And Michael.
And the angels.
And the angels.
Commander General Yohanan.
Commanding General Yohanan.
The generals.
The generals.
The captains.
The captains.
The officers.
The officers.
The troopers.
The troopers.
And the sisters.
And the sisters.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
In the name of Yahweh
In the
Shai.
name of Yahushai.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So be it.
So be it. Psalms 121 in the Hebrew. Asha'ah.
Asha'ah.
Ayanya.
Ayanya.
All.
Ah.
Ahariam.
Ahariam.
Ayan.
Ayan.
Gaba'ah.
Gaba'ah.
Isaiah.
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 Ma'ayim.
Ma'ayim.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Aisha.
Aisha.
Shemayim.
Shemayim.
What's like it? Wa'aratazah.
Wa'aratazah.
All.
All.
Yatan.
Yatan.
Lamawat.
Lamawat.
Regolka.
Regolka.
All.
All.
Yanawam.
Yanawam.
Gashamarka.
Gashamarka.
Nah.
Yonah.
La'ah.
La'ah.
Yanawam.
Yanawam.
Wala'ah.
Wala'ah.
Yeshud.
Ashur.
Shalomar.
Shalomar.
Yasharala.
Yasharala.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Shamarka.
Shamarka.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Tazolka.
Tazolka.
Yah.
Ayah.
Yamika.
Yemikah.
What's like it? Yawamam.
Yahweh.
Yashamash.
Yashamash.
Shalak. Hashamash.
Hashamash.
La'ah.
La'ah.
Yakaka.
Akikah.
Wa'irah.
Iraq.
Alayallah.
Wallah.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Yashamarka.
Yashamarka.
Yakal.
Call.
Rai.
Rai.
Yashamar.
Yashamar.
Athnapashka.
Athnapashka.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Yashamar.
Yashamar.
Taza'aka.
Taza'aka.
Wa'aka.
Yahweh.
Ma'ita.
Ma'adah.
Wa'ai.
Wa'ai.
Awala.
Allah. Psalms 121 in the English. I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills.
I will lift up mine eyes to the hills.
From whence cometh my help?
From whence cometh my help?
My help cometh from the Lord,
My help cometh from the Lord,
which made heaven and earth.
which made heaven and earth.
He will not suffer thy foot to be moved.
He will not suffer thy foot to be moved.
He that keepeth thee
He that keepeth thee
will not slumber.
will not slumber.
Behold,
Behold,
he that keepeth Israel
he that keepeth Israel
shall neither slumber nor sleep.
shall neither slumber nor sleep.
The Lord is thy keeper.
The Lord is thy keeper.
The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand.
The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand.
The sun shall not smite thee by day,
The sun shall not smite thee by day,
nor the moon by
nor
night.
the moon by night.
The Lord shall preserve
The
thee
Lord shall preserve thee
from all evil.
from all evil.
He shall preserve thy soul.
He shall preserve thy soul.
The Lord shall preserve thy going out
The Lord shall preserve thy going out
and thy coming in
and thy coming in,
from this time forth
from this time forth
and even forevermore.
and even forevermore. Psalms 83 in the Hebrew. Alahaya,
Alahaya,
all, Lamaya,
Lamaya,
Laka,
Laka,
all, Lakarash,
Lakarash,
all, Lashakwat,
Ashwat,
all, Kaya,
Kaya,
Hana,
Hana,
Oyebika,
Yebika,
Yahama,
Yama,
Yawan,
Yawan,
Ra'ash,
Ra'ash,
Al,
Al,
Maka,
Yamaka,
Ya'aywa,
Iowa,
Sawada,
Sawada,
Wayata,
Wayata,
Yaitazawa,
Tazawa,
Isle,
Isle,
Tizapawinika,
Tizapawanika,
Marwa,
Marwa,
Lakawa,
Lakawa,
Nakakida,
Warakakida,
Magalia,
Magalia,
Wala'a,
Wala'a,
Yazakar,
Yazakar,
Shum,
Shum,
Yasharala,
Yasharala,
Awada,
Awada,
Kaya,
Kaya,
Naitazawa,
Tazawa,
Laba,
Laba,
Yakabwa,
Yakawa,
Al-Yaka,
Ayaka,
Baryath,
Barat,
Yakarathwa,
Yakarapla,
Ahaya,
Ahaya,
Adawam,
Adawam,
Wa,
Wa,
Yashamai,
Yashamai,
Alayam,
Ayom,
Mawa'aba,
Mawa'aba,
Wagari,
Wagari,
Gabal,
Gabal,
Wayam1,
Waimalam,
Waymalak,
Wamalak,
Alashaf,
Halashah,
Amyashabia,
Amyashabia,
Tazawar,
Tazawar,
Gum,
Gum,
Ashawar,
Ashawar,
Alawat,
Lawat,
Imam,
Aman,
Ayawa,
Ayawat,
Zarawat,
Zarwat,
Labanya,
Labanya,
Lawat,
Lawat,
Salah,
Salah,
Aishab,
Aisha,
Laham,
Laham,
Hamadyan,
Hamadyan,
Kasaya,
Asaya,
Sarah,
Sarah,
Salah, Kayabyan,
Kayabyan,
Banakal,
Banakal,
Kwayashwan,
Kwayashwan,
Nashamagwa,
Nashamagwa,
Ayan,
Ayan,
Dara,
Dara,
Hayawa,
Ayawa,
Zaman,
Awan,
Ladama,
Ladama,
Shayatamwa,
Shaitamwa,
Nada,
Nada,
Yamawa,
Yamawa,
Kairab,
Kairab,
Kazaaba,
Kazaaba,
Kazabak,
Kazabak,
Katazal,
Katazal,
Manai,
Manai,
Call,
Kal,
Nasayakam,
Nasalakma,
Ashar,
Ashar,
Marwa,
Amarwa,
Nariyasha,
Nairasha,
Nanawa,
Nawa,
Af, Nawaf,
Nawa,
Alahayim,
Alahaya,
Alahayim,
Alahaya,
Shayatamwa,
Shaitamwa,
Gogala,
Gogala,
Quash,
Wash,
Lapanya,
Lapanya,
Rabaka,
Abakar,
Ka'ash,
Ash,
the Byra,
the Byra,
Ya'ira,
the Ira,
Wa,
Wa,
Kalahaba,
Kalahaba,
Kalahat,
Kalahat,
Ahayim,
Ahaya,
Khan,
Kari,
Taradatma,
Taradama,
Sa'iraka,
Sa'iraka,
Wamasa,
Wamasa,
Wapaka,
Wapaka,
Tabahalam,
Tabahalam,
Mala'a,
Wala'a,
Anyaham,
Ayam,
Kualawan,
Kalawan,
Waya,
Waya,
Kwashwa,
Kwashwa,
Shamka,
Shaka,
Yahawa,
Yahawa,
Yabashwa,
Yabashwa,
Waya,
Waya,
Bahawa,
Bahawa,
Anyai,
Ayai,
Waya,
Waya,
Kaparwa,
Kaparwa,
Waya,
Waya,
Abadwa,
Abadwa,
Waya,
Waya,
the Iowa,
the Iowa,
Kaya,
Kaya,
Ata,
Ata,
Shamka,
Shamka,
Yahawa,
Yahawa,
Labaka,
Labaka,
Al Yawan,
Alawam,
Al
Al,
Call,
Call,
Harasa.
Hiratazah. Psalms 83 in the English. Keep not thy silence, O God.
Keep not thy silence, O God,
Hold not thy peace,
and hold not thy peace,
and be not still.
and be not still.
O God,
O God,
for lo,
for lo,
thine enemies make a tumult,
thine enemies make a tumult,
and they that hate thee
and they that hate thee
have lifted up the head.
have lifted up the head.
They have taken crafty counsel
They have taken crafty counsel
against thy people,
against thy people,
and consulted against thy hidden
and
ones.
consulted against thy hidden ones.
They have said, Come,
Come,
and let us cut them off
and let us cut them off
from being a nation,
from being a nation,
that the name of
that
Israel
the name of Israel
may be no more
may
remembered.
be no more remembrance.
For they have consulted together
For they have consulted together
with one consent.
with one consent.
They are confederate against thee.
They are confederate against thee.
The tabernacles of Edom,
The tabernacles of Edom,
and the Israelites,
and the Ishmaelites
of Moab,
of Moab,
and the
and the
Hagarenes,
Hagarenes,
Gabal,
Gabal,
and Ammon,
and Ammon,
and Amalek,
and Amalek,
the Philistines,
Philistines,
with the inhabitants of
with
Tyre.
the inhabitants of Tyre.
Assur also is joined with them.
So also was joined with.
They have hope in the children of Lot.
They have hope in the children of Lot.
Salah,
Salah.
do unto them,
Do unto them
as unto the Midianites,
as to the Midianites,
as to Sisera,
as to Sisera,
as to Jabin,
as to Jabin,
as to at the brook of Kazan,
at the brook of Song,
which perish at Endor.
which perished at Endor.
They become as done for the earth.
They became as dung for the earth.
Make their nobles like Oreb,
Make their nobles like Oreb,
and like Zaid.
and like Zaid.
Yea,
Yea,
all their princes as Zabah,
all their princes as Zabah,
and as Amun,
and as Amun,
who
who
said,
said,
Let us take to ourselves
let us take to ourselves
the houses of God in
the
possession.
houses of God in possession.
Oh my God,
Oh my God,
make them like a whip,
make them like a whip,
as a stubble before the wind,
as a stubble before the wind,
as a fire burneth the wood,
as the fire burns the wood,
and as the flame set the mountains on
and
fire.
as the flame set the mountains on fire.
So persecute them
So persecute them
with thy tempest,
with thy tempest,
and make them
and
afraid.
make them afraid. break
with thy sword.
with thy storm.
Fill their faces with shame,
Fill their faces with shame,
that they may seek thy
that
name.
they may seek thy name.
O Lord,
O Lord,
let them be confounded
let them be confounded
and troubled
and troubled
forever.
forever.
Yea,
Yea,
let them be put to shame
let them be put to shame
and perish,
and perish,
that men may know
that men may know
that thou, whose name
whose
alone
name alone
is Yahweh,
is Yahweh,
art the most high,
art the most high
over all the earth.
over all the earth. Sorry, face me.
Oh, shoulder was giving out.
Kawada to everybody that tuned in. Shalom.
Shalom, Ezra.